Let's get ready to rumble!
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching. I'm your guy Nick, aka Alfred, from Shank Club NFL over here in the UK. We're going to be doing a very quick hit for the 49ers and Eagles pre-game show. Glad to say I've got one of my regulars from the 49ers comes on our stream and say a very good afternoon, Nick. Nick, how are you, sir? How are you doing?
Doing very, very well. Looking forward to going 2-0.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think we should take the Eagles lightly, but we'll get into that very, very quickly. We got the inactives for the game. So I'm just going to get your take on it very quickly. For the 49ers, Aaron Banks, Emmanuel Mosley, Ambry Thomas, Zach Kerr. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we all expected Mosley to be on there, really, didn't we? The guy's still waiting to come back. I can't wait to see him back on the field. God knows the secondary needs him badly. Ambry Thomas, be interested to see what's going on there, especially with the problems that we are having. And he played last week. He didn't have the best game, but I didn't think he was horrific either. Kerr has obviously been ditched for to bring like cracking names. Kindle is back, so hopefully that will really improve the run stuffing and try and keep Jalen Hurt in the pocket. Then try and keep him as a pocket passer.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you. I was quite surprised about Ambry Thomas. Obviously, he was playing, as you say, last week. Didn't have the best of games. Lenore definitely has outshone him so far. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Kinlaw being back is a big plus. Good to see you, Izzy. Thanks for joining. So that's a big plus, especially against the run. Inactives for the Eagles, Gardner Minshew. Didn't even know he'd gone there, if I'm honest. Rodney McLeod, Mac McCain, Brett Toth, and oh God, and there has to be one with a dodgy name that I've got to now and try and pronounce. Marlon T. I'm going to call him Marlon T. Actually, I want Tuo Pilotu. There you go. That's probably totally wrong, but again, no big names out on there. No. So, what's your keys to victory, do you think, today for the 49ers? What have they got to do offensively and defensively to not have another situation like we did last week when we let Detroit back in the game and almost blew it near the end?
Yeah, I mean, whoever's going to play play a corner is going to have big games. They've got to come out and they've got to be good from the start because you know they're going to get picked on. Hell, if I was with the Eagles, that's exactly where I'd be throwing the ball. Players that maybe hadn't spent that much time with us, go at them. The linebackers are going to have a really big say in this. I know we're missing Dre Greenlaw, but I've been impressed enough with Aziz Al-Shair and Demetrius Flanagan-Falls. I think they've been tidy enough. I think we'll do all right. Stuff in the run there, coming in, joining the D-line in that wide nine. The big one is going to be Kindle. He's going to be able to stop everything going through the middle. I think Kindle's going to have a big game today. And that should allow our ever-improving pass rush to keep Hurts in the pocket, I think it'll be tidy. Offensively, I think Jimmy's going to have another good game. I'm confident. I really am. I am. I like Jimmy. I know it's not that I dislike Trey by any stretch of the imagination. He's the future of our team. But Jimmy is the QB. Jimmy's going to have I think he's going to have a good game. I'm not sure you're going to see the same numbers from the likes of Debo this week. Was it 190 yards he had last week? I mean, that was
something
insane.
like that.
That is absolutely insane numbers, really. I think you might see a little bit more spread around. I'd love to see Ayuk seeing more of the ball, but having said that, if Sherfield's going to crop up and score plenty of touchdowns, I'm absolutely fine with that as well. So I think we're good enough for this win. I do. It is that secondary that's worrying, you know.
It is. Apparently, Josh Norman could be starting, which, if we get the Josh Norman of quite a few years ago, happy days. If we get the one that was put in a clown suit by Derrick Henry and basically got abused, then yeah, that could be some issues. For me, like you and everybody knows, I'm a Jimmy G fan, and you echo what I've said. I know in our bold predictions, which I put out on Twitter that we did a couple of weeks ago, everyone knows Lance is the future, but this is Jimmy G's time to shine.
Yeah.
I know people, I wouldn't say want him to fail, but they kind of do, because they think that Trey is the answer and Trey is going to be this, amazing QB. And I'm sure he will in the future. But I don't know if it was last week, the positions he was put in, or the plays that were called, whatever you want to call it, he couldn't showcase himself. So the snaps he got last week were kind of a waste of time, really. I think Kit was going to have a big game today. I think you may even see Juszczyk doing what Kyle Juszczyk does, and all of a sudden he appears downfield, no one's near him, and he catches the ball and runs. Defensively, Kinlaw being back definitely will help. Obviously, we don't know whether he's 75% fit, 80%, whatever they've deemed that he is fit to go. And I think he's going to help shore up that line, because those running backs last week abused that line as good as we all thought they were. And also Armstead was moved to the outside where he should have stayed inside, which was a bit bizarre. But yeah, I mean, I still think, like you, we've got enough to do it. I don't think we're going to score 41 points again. I can't see. But you don't know, do you? I mean, obviously football's football. But I can just see us. I think we got a better overall roster. As you say, we got to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, because that's I mean, I watched the highlights of the game last week, and I thought he looked really, really good, and their running game looked solid, and I was quite worried coming into it. But Kinlaw definitely being back helps, but we've got to keep him in the pocket, because I don't think we saw him doing much pocket work last week. He was rolling out, and we know, and we've seen with Jared Goff over the years, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, all those types of QBs do worry the 49ers. So I'm interested in the game plan that DeMeco Ryans draws up this week. It's gonna be an interesting chess match. I mean, does it worry you at all, the fact that he is mobile and can get out and has got an arm?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been our kryptonite now for a number of years. Teams in the West have known it for a while. It's why Russell Wilson has so much success against us. God damn that man. It's why Goff looks a reasonable QB when he plays against that. I don't think he's actually much cop at all. But we just seem to struggle to contain them. And once they get outside, it seems to go to panic stations. And I don't know. I say I hate those mobile QBs for that reason, because they do cause us problems every single time.
It will be interesting because obviously we've now got a new defensive coordinator as to whether the philosophy on defense has changed to try and, because we all see it. So, and he played, obviously, D'Amico Ryans played the game. So my chain of thought on that is he's played the game. He's seen it. He knows. Before, when he was linebackers coach, he might have had a word in Salah's ear and said, look, this is blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's not his plays. It's not his scheme. It's not his baby. But now it's his. So I think we saw a bit of progression last week. Admittedly, we weren't good against the run, but then our best run stuffer was inactive. So kind of with the secondary is an issue, but if that pass rush gets home and we give the cornerbacks and safeties enough time, I can't see it. I can't see anything that's really going to give us fits in this. So I think the pass rush definitely for me is the key to the whole thing. And hopefully Bosa won't get hold every play like he seems to get. And I'm sure we do holding, etc. But there's holding and then there's just blatant holding. And, 49ers Twitter is awash with pictures last week where two players are holding him and it wasn't called. And I don't know if it's because they don't see it. Bearing in mind all the officials that are on the field, surely there's enough out there for them to see, what's going on.
Oh, mate, I've seen less contact when people are hugging. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of times that Bosa in particular gets held all the time. I mean, the fair play to the guy for actually keeping his cool, because he doesn't lose it. He does stay pretty calm. So fair play to him. And then, of course, then you got D Ford coming from the other side, haven't you? Which is always nice. And it's nice to see him back healthy again. If he has a 10-plus sack season, I think you're looking at the Niners being one of the better defenses, even with the problems at corner.
Definitely. I mean, D Ford, I'm pretty sure he jumped offside once last week, but you can tell, and he was on a pitch count, which I think's sensible, because unless it's third and long, I don't think you need him in there unless you really want to make a statement and have them both coming off the same side or one either side. And it was great to see D4 back out, because everybody had written him off, everybody, me included. And it was great to see him out there doing his thing and being D Ford, because we all know a fit D Ford is an amazing player, and the experience and everything like that. So yeah, I was happy to see him out there. What do you think about the 49ers running backs? Obviously, I think obviously most that's out, but I think Trey Sermon's back, so we got a full complement. Who do you think is going to be the main bell cow for this game?
By all accounts, we all know this is a very running back friendly offense. As long as you've got the vision and the patience, you're going to make yards playing under Kyle. That it's a surefire fact. I think you're going to see a lot more of Elijah Mitchell. The guy was phenomenal last weekend. I mean, he came from nowhere, really. I thought it was going to be Trey Sermon. After they said Mostert's gone down, he's not coming back, I thought, right, okay, it's the Trey Sermon show. Obviously, he wasn't there. And I thought maybe, okay, it'd be Hasty. But then Hasty had only a few carries, and Elijah Mitchell took over the game. He was absolutely phenomenal. So let the boy run. But I don't really want to see him carrying all the time. We do have this thing of running backs going down. So I'd like to see some of the load shared a bit. I think Hasty showed enough that he should be getting some carries as well. He had that nice short yardage touchdown last week. I thought he looked good. But I'm interested to see what Trey Sermon can do. He's got
again, Sermon this week's got a lot to prove. I think also Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what happened with him last week. Hang on, just got to bring in. We have another guest turning up. Hopefully he's going to. Oh, I think he might have frozen. He's frozen. He's gone off. He's coming in. Hopefully John V will make it back in. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, Brandon Ayuk. I don't know if that's the kind of right way to motivate players with what's been going on there. John.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, man? You good?
Hey, I'm good. Sorry, Nick. I was at church this morning, and I got your message, and it was too late. But I just got back. I'm walking the dog right now. What's going on?
We're just talking basically. Have you seen the inactives for the Niners?
I saw that. I saw last night that Armstead was questionable. Marcel Harris. Who else? Well, no. Enlighten me. What's the deal? What have you heard today? I haven't seen.
So inactives: Aaron Banks, E-Man, Ambry Thomas, Zach Kerr. Everyone else is a go.
Son of a bitch. I wanted Ambry Thomas out there today. I really wanted to see him out there today.
I think everyone's kind of thinking that it's going to be Josh Norman that goes instead. And Nick and I were saying, we hope it's the Josh Norman of old, not the guy that got put in a clown suit by Derrick Henry. We don't want to see that Josh Norman today.
You guys got to give that guy some credit. That guy was the only one that ever challenged Derrick Henry. He's the only one crazy enough to challenge Derrick Henry under those circumstances. So I put him in a different category now that he's a Niner. I defend him at all costs.
Well, that's actually very true. He does get a pass for that, and it's amazing the amount of stuff on NFL Network when they do their build-up shows. The amount of times I've seen that Derrick Henry play, it's just ridiculous. But he was in a different uniform, so I'm good with that. We were just talking about running backs and who we thought was going to be the main. Obviously, apart from Mostert, who's out, we've got a full room. Who do you think is going to be the main man on that running game today?
If I read it correctly by a beat writer who has a blue check mark, whether that matters these days or not, I actually saw that Elijah Mitchell was going to be the bulk of the ball carrier today, that he was going to get the start. If I read that correctly, Nick, I read that Elijah Mitchell may start today. So, and I mean, deservingly so, right? I mean, the guy had a little over 100 yards rushing, a touchdown, and I'm excited to see him in the passing game because he has some good hands.
It could be, and again, you see, with that sort of being out and everyone except most of fit, that could be quite a red herring, and he might not rush for 100 yards, 50 yards, 20, whatever. It could be one of the other guys that is featured this week. Because as Nick was saying before you joined, we've got an embarrassment of riches back there. A lot of them are good out the back catching, etc. You've got the battering ram that is hasty for short yardage, which I do like. I don't think he's an every down back, but I mean, last year he did have fumbling issues.
I'm not confident in his ball carrying yet, but I mean, I love the guy. I've been high on Hasty.
He is and he is the battering ram, Nick. Right? If it's short yardage, and you've still got Juice in there, you've got two options. So you can either just hand it off to Juice and let him rumble forward, or you just put the battering ram in there and he blows people off the line.
Oh, yeah.
So it will be, it's going to be the running game. I think we're going to see a lot of it again, but I think it's going to be more sprinkled around. this week. I don't know what do you think, Nick? Do you think that we're going to see one feature back, or we're going to see a mixture of all of them, or who do you think is going to be the main man sort of for yards and catches and things like that this week?
I mean, the beauty of the Niners running game is that you never know. I mean, you look at last year, we literally never knew from one week to the next who was going to be the featured back. And you'd also sprinkle in the odd week where the carries were fairly even. All right, you might have one running back who really showed out and really went for it, and he's got the headlines. But when you look at the snaps on all of them, they all had about the same. So this is the beauty of our running game. It could be anyone. It's the same with our passing game. It could be anyone that ends up being featured, and that's what I love so much about it. So much of the time, I mean, I wouldn't want to try and predict.
No, as you say, you don't know what Carl's thinking. One question I want to ask, because Mike McDaniel is supposedly the offensive coordinator, but he doesn't call the plays. It's obviously Carl's show. That I don't understand that. And I wondered if they promoted him to keep him because people were sniffing around. John, what's your take on that? The fact that we've got an offensive coordinator that isn't an offensive coordinator by general terms like other teams.
I think you're right. I think that people were interested in McDaniel. And I believe that the Niners needed to make a place for him to keep him. But I also believe that, that McDaniel offers insight to Kyle. Kyle can't just do it all. I believe that he listens to McDaniels. I believe that McDaniels brings a different perspective to Kyle. And I believe that he considers it, and he somehow ties that in with the offensive workload for the scheme. I believe that, because who would take the job otherwise? I guess it's just easy money, right? I mean, it's just easy money. You stand beside one of the best offensive minds in the game, and you broaden your resume, and from there you're more valuable, I guess. But Kyle's got to be considering any of the things that come out of his mouth, because the kid's kind of goofy, but he's smart, and I enjoy him. I mean, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way a few times, but when I got used to McDaniels, I enjoyed him. He's a smart guy. I mean, he obviously offers something, and they like him there. So I believe that it's more of like I don't know, more of like a like a voice of reason. I mean, he brings an aspect of the offense, right, guys? I mean, we can't deny that McDaniel doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he's a smart guy. And he probably brings an aspect of the game that Kyle listens and reasons with, and maybe there's parts of McDaniel in that offensive scheme, and we just don't realize it. We just give all the credit to Kyle.
Yeah, that's a valid point, John. Definitely. One thing I do think he's worked on is his media presence, because the first time, I think in pre-season or in training camp, when he was put in front of the cameras, I was like, who is this guy? Why has he been put? Because it was a really, really bad interview. And maybe it's the case that he's never done that sort of thing before. Obviously, he hasn't for this organisation. And then all of a sudden, he's thrust into the limelight. And yeah, I think it was an epic fail, personally. But the further along that he got, I think his real personality shone through. And I do tend to agree with you, John. I do think that it was kind of people were sniffing around and they needed to up his pay grade to keep him. Otherwise, he would have been calling plays properly. And two minds are better than one. Kyle obviously sometimes has struggled with just trying to do everything. And he obviously hasn't paid much attention to defense because he's not a defensive coach, which is fair enough. But having a second person in there in the brain trust, I definitely think helps him. And we all wish the best. Hopefully Mike McDaniels will stay and Kyle will get better as a coach, etc. Nick, what's your thoughts on Mike McDaniel? Do you think he's punching above his weight? Do you think he's actually worth what they pay? How do you see him fitting in with this?
He's essential. By all accounts, he's the guy behind the run game. Before, obviously, we let Lafleur go. Is it Lafleur that went with Salah to the Jets to be the offensive coordinator? We let him go. We couldn't let McDaniel go as well. It would have been death for the offense as well. Just giving that kind of offensive mind to another team. I think you probably saw the same situation with Adam Peters as well. They had I can't remember what position he ended up taking, but to make sure that he didn't leave to go be a GM elsewhere, they made him more important within the organization. Although I don't think McDaniels has much to do with play calling, I think you'll see his work is done behind the scenes. I think we don't see as much of what he does as maybe is seen with other offensive coordinators that are play callers.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'd be interested to know, and I don't think we'll ever find out, how many, let's say I know scripted plays are normally 25, but let's say their game plan is, I don't know, 300 plays. Let's say 300. How many of that quantity are actually Mike McDaniel's plays, and how many of the others are Kyle's? And obviously Kyle has the final say in what plays called, and I'd be interested as well to see the breakdown of plays after the game to see who had more, things like, and I know we'll never see it, but from a stats point of view, that could, to me, I think that would be quite interesting to see. It's a shame I don't think we will see it, but I'm just interested to know the breakdown between the two, because it worked last week to perfection, and I'd love to know who called certain plays at certain times that got touchdowns and things like that. It's a shame we don't see that sort of thing, John. What do you think?
It's possible that these guys sit down at the drawing board together and they draw up these schemes, right? And then Kyle's just the one that executes them when he sees fit, right? So there's got to be McDaniel sprinkled in there. Otherwise, what's it worth? Unless it's just an easy payday. Like I said, like, you're an offensive coordinator, you're getting paid as an offensive coordinator, but you don't offensive coordinate. It just seems like, thanks for the payday, but I would like to see my efforts, my plans, my skill set used properly, right? Let's just be like, look, you could pay me, but I'd rather my efforts be noticed. Let me ask you guys a question, because I didn't pay attention in week 1. Did you see McDaniel on the sideline with Kyle, or was he in the booth?
I don't know.
That's a very good question. I don't know. I can't answer that because, and you know what it's like. I don't think you actually, you do see the defensive coordinator, and we know that because obviously every time they had a big play last year, Salah was there going berserk.
Yeah.
And you saw that. But I'm going to watch that today and see if I can do any, because they always show the offensive coordinator, don't they? When you watch any other team,
yeah,
he's in the booth or he's down on the ground. But I honestly, I don't. What do you remember it now? I can't think of seeing him anywhere, let alone on the sideline.
No, I cannot remember seeing him at all.
Same goes for me. I don't remember seeing him. I honest to God, I don't remember seeing him. But then again, I also feel like he's about 5'7", and he's standing amongst giants. We wouldn't see him anyway. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't see the guy. Maybe we're looking for a guy
very
we
fair
just can't
point,
see.
But you probably see his hair, but not him, because he has quite a nice hair. I wish I had a nice head of hair like his, but those days are long gone. And Nick's even further along the line than I am. So,
oh, no. I've got a perforated hair.
Looks like Nick's got a lot of hair. Nick, do you just have it pulled back, brother, or what?
No, I've always had very short hair, but I started going grey at the age of 14.
Yeah, which was that's crazy, man. I wasn't far behind. It was like 19 for me.
I was fine.
I
never
started
got
going grey a year ago when I started this channel. I used to have jet black hair. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Right, because we're getting close to half an hour before kickoff. So let's have a score prediction from you, and then we'll do a few quick over and unders, and then we're going to get out of here. So, John, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 31-21 Niners.
Nice. Nick?
I'm not going to go with this. I'm just going to say Niners by less than 5.
So you think it's going to be that close?
I think it'll be close. I think they're going to pick on our secondary.
You know, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, man, because that's what I would do, right? I mean, I think the three of us could agree that we would all pick on the secondary. We truly would. Do we know if Drake Kirkpatrick's going to play?
He's
up. He's up.
So that's two vets and Lenore, right? Should we be as concerned, or should we just see how it plays out after the first quarter? You know, should we reevaluate this, and chop it up on Twitter and figure out where we were wrong or make a fair assessment? Because, you know, I don't want to worry about something that may not be. I mean, like, I feel like those guys are serviceable vets. I mean, they can't be any worse than. Go ahead, brother.
That's the thing, John. We don't.
Man.
Rene Cruz, thank you for your comment. Let's go diehard faithful San Francisco 49ers Empire all day, all day. Sermon is on the field, according to Twitter, suited up, which...
That's great. Good news. Pull your shit
news.
Together and stop pissing off the coach.
My score prediction's 35-10. Because I want to see another Jimmy G 80-yard bomb, 70-yard bomb. I don't care. It was hilarious because nobody or very few people were on that pass. And if Lance would have done it, we all know what would have happened. Lance gets his first touchdown in the NFL. They're all over it. Jimmy G does that. They don't say anything. I'm going 35-10. And right, a few quick over and unders before we get out of here. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Before we get to over and unders, real quick, did you guys cover any of the Ayuk Sherfield speculation? Did you guys talk about it at all?
We haven't, but we can certainly talk about it before we do over and unders. John, if you want to go for it.
Well, I was reading some of Kyle's podium talk there, so to speak. And, you know, when they asked about Ayuk in the doghouse and whether or not he had upset Kyle or done something to basically be irrelevant and ignored in that game in week 1, right, versus the Lions, we did not see a single look his way. So my question is, after reading a part that said that Kyle said he's not in the doghouse, and we don't know if we should believe that or not, right? But at the end of the day, he said that Sherfield had a more productive camp, and I believe what he's saying is that Trent Sherfield seems to be doing more in practice as well, and maybe he said he's moving up in the depth chart, meaning did he move up and surpass Ayuk? Is he the presumptive wide receiver 2? Or is he wide receiver 3 and there's just speculation and it's spinning out of control? But my concern is this. Ayuk didn't have a very good preseason, right? He had the drops. Did Ayuk have a problem with some of what Kyle said? Did he give Kyle some flack? Is he not handling the competition the right way? Something has to give so that we understand what happened with Ayuk. I don't believe it's a hamstring because we the three of us know that Kyle does not value injury like bullshit. Like if you have a bad injury, if you have a hamstring, is Kyle really going to put you out there to make that injury worse? He likes his players at like 95, 97, 100%, right? Well, why would he put him out there with a hamstring injury? To me, Kyle exploits his issues with his players. He just basically ignores them. I believe that Ayuk did something to piss Kyle off. I don't know if it was in addition to Trey Sermon. I don't know if the two of them together pissed off Kyle. Like they did something that broke protocol, broke curfew, did something to piss him off. But it would lead to speculation that maybe the two of them pissed him off, right? But I believe Sherfield is giving Ayuk fits in camp and practice, right? And I don't believe that Ayuk was handling it professionally, and it might have rubbed Kyle the wrong way. That's really all I
Interesting
got.
comment here quickly from Izzy. I still think he has a grudge over the drops in pre-season, and with a healthy Debo and now Trent, I think Ayuk feels threatened, and he is not the clear guy. He was the clear guy, even with Ken. And you say about thing, and Kendrick Bourne kind of was the same way. He got in the doghouse a bit with some drops and bits and pieces, and obviously they could have re-signed him. They didn't. I think Sherfield, at this time, as we are in week 2, is clearly the number 2 receiver. Whether people put that on there, Debo obviously again, and depth charts and things like that in this in this team don't really matter, because you could be number 1 in the depth chart, but actually be the second or third running back or the second or third wide receiver. I definitely think Ayuk has got a lot to prove. Otherwise, we could be seeing another Dante Pettis situation, and we all know how that ended. So I think Ayuk.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that Ayuk? Could you ever see this coming? Honestly, could you ever see this guy bottom out in your wildest imagination? Would you ever have expected something like this?
No, but something clearly somewhere has gone on,
right.
And maybe he thinks he's better than he is. And I'm definitely number receiver 2. No one's going to touch me. I can just chill out and do whatever in camp, and they're not going to drop me because I was drafted high, etc., etc., etc. And all of a sudden, Sherfield's come in and made him look a complete schmuck.
Man, could you imagine Sherfield surpasses him on the depth chart as wide receiver 2? I mean, it was the Debo show on Sunday last week. 189 yards, a touchdown. Jimmy drives for 314 yards, throws for 314 yards. And then Trey comes in the red zone, throws Sherfield a touchdown pass, and that was all we saw, right? And I just have a hard time believing that Ayuk is injured, because Kyle would never put somebody out there that was injured. Or, why would you risk a hamstring if that's your number 2?
That's the injury that everybody kind of, and it doesn't matter if it's soccer, it could be baseball, it could be any sport. If you've got a hamstring or a groin strike or something in that sort of area, you don't, even if the player says, coach, put me in, he could have gone one play and damaged it and then been out on IR for God knows that. So I agree with you, John. There's more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah.
It blows my mind, because the organization keeps everything zip tight, and then it leaves beat writers and fans to speculate, and we drive ourselves crazy over it. I mean, we can make up the goofiest of shit. We could be so far away from the truth, and we don't even know it, right? But we don't have anything else to go off of. It's like crumbs. You give us a little bit, man, and we're like, you give us an inch and we'll take a mile, right? I mean, we're just like, well, yeah, he must have shit in his cornflakes. He really pissed off Kyle. But something really tells me that Ayuk wasn't handling the competition well. I believe that. Either that, or it was just poor performance, and that'll get you no looks.
That's probably the main thing. I think he wasn't he wasn't handling the fact that other players were better than him. And bearing in mind where he was drafted and it's a high pick, etc. They traded up to get all that. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. And last season, no one really, I don't think anybody could touch him, right? So he's him and Ayuk, 1 and 2, nothing, no one was even close, right? And then all of a sudden, this new guy comes in and he's catching. Everyone saw it in training, catching mad balls. He lit up the preseason. And now you must be kind of think it's like if you're at work and a new guy comes in and you don't feel threatened. And then all of a sudden he starts getting noticed, the new guy. And the boss isn't then talking to you. He's more on the new guy, and the new guy's getting more exposure. And it's Trent Sherfield this, Trent Sherfield that, blah, 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 all that. You didn't see him doing any podium stuff apart from last week because of the spat, apparently. And Sherfield's done, I don't know, 4 or 5 media hits. So again, that points you in that direction that he is elevating himself and he is making the big plays. And we've seen nothing from Ayuk. But I think today we will, and Carl will give him his chance to get out the doghouse. And we'll see whether he takes it or not. And then it'll be interesting to see how it affects Sherfield. Should Sherfield get on the game today? Whether if the score's not out of reach, I'm not going to say that. It's the wrong thing to say. But if the 49ers are comfortable at points, does he pull out Ayuk, who's having 150 yards, whatever, and go back to Sherfield? Because Sherfield's been his guy. So it is going to be interesting, Nick. What do you think?
Like John said, we could come up with a million different theories, and every single one of them could be a million miles away. I mean, who knows? It's bound to be a combination of things. I mean, like you said, Sherfield had a good preseason. He clearly developed a rapport with Trey Lance. You have that 80-yard touchdown, which was very nicely taken. He's taken the first one now in week 1, and even at the press conferences, I think Sherfield said the right things. He sounds like a team player. Why not? I mean, if the guy's earned his shot, why not give it to him?
He's a veteran. I mean, Sherfield's been in the league for 5 or 6 seasons now. Mm-hmm. And Larry Fitzgerald can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he's got a rapport. He's earned respect elsewhere in the league. And Jimmy has settled in with Debo, and Trey has settled in with Sherfield, and Ayuk is left in the middle, like what? Me and Sudfeld are pals, it's so weird because Ayuk has just been left out, and I don't know if it's just poor performance in practice, and the preseason carried over, and Kyle's just like, look, man, Kyle punishes you by not looking at you, by benching you or putting you on the field, but giving you no looks, and then letting social media just tear you to pieces, right? Like that's all part of your punishment. And it's crazy, and that's where it's ego-driven, and a lot of people are rubbed the wrong way by it. But I kind of like it, man, because Kyle knows that you can perform and we love you, or you can suck and we hate you. It's shitty.
It's not good.
Right?
It's not good. Right. We're getting close to kickoff, so we're going to do a few quick over-unders, and then we're going to get out of here. Jimmy Garoppolo, passing yards, 275. Nick, over or under?
Over.
John?
I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under 275. But I'm not going to be far from it. I believe he'll be damn close.
I think he goes not between 275 and 300. I don't think it's going to be the same as last week. Defensive interceptions or turnovers, 3. Over or under, Nick?
I'm going to go under, sadly.
John?
I'm going to go under also. Under 3.
Yeah, under 3. I think so. Okay. Sacks on Jalen Hurts from either D Ford or Nick Bosa. 2. Over or under?
Over all the way.
I say over as well.
I hope so, because I love seeing those 2 work, and it'll be.
I'm amazed by D Ford. I'm so grateful that he is healthy, and it takes just a little bit of pressure off John Lynch too, because he doesn't have to take the flack of being a rookie GM.
Well, as well,
fighting,
I think
fighting on that bait, right? He took the bait, and he was forever scrutinized for it.
Oh God, yeah.
I think also as well the fact that D Ford's back and Bosa's back, it changes everybody's outlook on
Sure does.
everything, because the offense will roll. Whoever's in there at QB running back, they're going to roll. That's fine. Defense is a different animal, and that's what our biggest plus is, really. This defense, even with the, I'm not going to say shitty players and people that were like a revolving door last year, but that was our strength last year. And we've now got everybody back, and we've made some good additions.
Yeah.
I expect this defense to be a top 3 defense this year. And I just hope the offense can be top 10. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, so Ayuk, 100 yards receiving, over or under? John?
That's a tough one, man, because Kyle has the power to scheme it in his favor as like retribution, right? So it's crazy to me, because then you don't want to take a hot hand out of Debo, because Debo's healthy and looks phenomenal. I'm going to say under, man.
Nick?
I'm going to go with under. I don't think he'll have too many targets. I mean, he'll have the opportunity to make the yards after catch, but we'll see. I think it's probably going to be under.
I'm going to go over, and I think he's going to have a 50-yard touchdown. Whether it's a yak, whether it's straight down the field. I'm not going to say who's going to throw it to him, but I think he is going to have the play like last week with the 79-yard bot. They're going to find one of those, and it's going to be Ayuk.
Nick, you got to be ready for Philadelphia to take away the middle third for those of us in the football world, right? For soccer. If we take middle third away from Jimmy, meaning we take that short yardage between the linebackers and the secondary that Jimmy likes to hit his receivers in, if Philly takes that away and forces Jimmy to throw longer, or we open up the run game, you could be right, man. I mean, I think Jimmy is starting to read man a little more, and I believe when Breezy said that he thinks that Jimmy is reading man better. Let's just see, because you guys got to remember, Alex Mack is in there, and he's calling protections, taking a lot of the thinking away from Jimmy, and Jimmy just gets to focus on throwing the football. So, with that being said, we could be seeing another great game out of Jim.
Well, he's got 2 things, actually, Alex Mack. Yes, he takes away all that pressure for calling things, but he's also got a sweaty arse, and he dropped the ball on the first snap.
Listen, I don't know who.
I'm not going to lie. I was so pumped. I thought, right, come on, Jimmy. Shut all these people up. First play, bomb it, whatever. And then that happened. And I'm thinking, Jesus. Really? Come on now. And Alex Mack, basically, he did come out and say it was his fault. It wasn't Jimmy's, which I thought was quite
fair play,
good of him to do. But you could see the difference that a proper centre, as in that's all he's ever played, makes. Jonathan Goodwin before with Alex Smith, etc., and Kaepernick, you could see
Richburg.
Richburg. When you take that pressure off of any quarterback and you call the protections and you see what's going on and you see the rest of the line react to it, which if the centre's not sure, and you saw Who was it who called out the line or the centre last year? Can't think.
Well, we had
A
Brunskill.
combination, wasn't it?
It was a combination of
Trent.
We had.
No, I'm saying he basically threw the Brunskill or whoever it was under the bus, saying, "Well, he called the wrong protection." I can't think of who it was.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And it's annoying me now because his
I
name.
don't think it was Lakin. I don't think it was Lakin, was it?
No, it wasn't Lakin. It was.
McGlinchey didn't say it. He wouldn't do it. Who else was playing?
No,
Who was playing
he's
guard?
too busy falling on his arse in
Was it
pass
Justin
protection.
School?
I can't remember, but one of them said it wasn't my fault because the wrong protection was called. So it was good to see that line is working a lot better.
Right. I mean, they look phenomenal.
A lot better, and
they look phenomenal.
For Lance or for Jimmy, you need that line to be all in sync. Doesn't matter, even for the running game, whoever it is, that line needs to be working like a well-oiled machine, and it was last week. There were a few hiccups, of course there were, but that's week one, and that's in the books.
Correct.
But anyway, 10 minutes till kickoff. Thanks for joining, John. I appreciate you coming in. Sorry you didn't see us yesterday.
That was
hopefully
my fault,
see you
guys.
again.
I was preoccupied. I had stuff going on here at the house. But
hopefully see you next Saturday with a bit of luck. Nick now is a genuine Shank Club NFL panelist.
There you go, brother.
And he tells us, I don't know if you spotted behind his head, the clock has gone, and apparently it's a wooden painted flag, not a flag.
Like, dude,
flag.
Is that a package? Is that wrapped?
No, it's I'll go grab it quickly. It'll take me a second.
Go on, Nick, because everyone wants to see your wooden painted flag. There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where'd you find it?
Yeah, it's the UK Niners flag with the Niners logo in as well. It was a birthday gift from my parents a couple of years ago.
Nice, man, nice. That's
and we've challenged John. We've challenged Nick every week. He's got to put something up different behind him. So he had the clock that was wrong the first week.
That's awesome.
The last show, the flag. So we might see his 49ers some cooking utensils or something up behind him next week. We'll have to. That's the challenge. Challenge Nick. Hashtag challenge Nick. I might try and get that trending on Twitter just for you, Nick, so we can get a different background every week.
I already know what it's going to be.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have put an update on there on YouTube regarding the Shank Club NFL going forward. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. My name's Nick, a.k.a. Alfred, a.k.a. Shank Club NFL. He's Nick. That's John. Enjoy the game, and let's go Niners.
Let's
go. Man, go Niners.
Let's go.